You are now listening to Shotgun Sports, powered by Winchester. Recorded in the U.S. and streaming all over the world, we talk to shotgun shooters from all disciplines, world-class instructors, gun clubs, target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and connect with us on social media. You can also catch our episodes on shotgunsportsusa.com.
Castellani shooting vests are manufactured in Italy and internationally recognized by elite shooters as the most popular lightweight shooting vest on the market. Castellani vests are especially known for their Italian styling and superior craftsmanship and quality, making them a vest of choice for all shooting disciplines. Ultimate Shooting Accessories is the exclusive supplier of Castellani vests in the United States. Visit them online at ultimateshootingaccessories.com for more information and to place your order. If you or your club are looking to purchase Promatic traps, make sure you get in touch with Rick Hemingway. He is the largest Promatic dealer in the country and can handle everything for you. Rick offers new and pre-owned units and exceptional service. He also has a huge rental fleet, so no job is too big or small. Rick is well known for setting championship-style targets and designing unbelievable courses, so make sure you ask him about his turnkey services for skeet, trap, and 5-stand. Contact Rick today at backwoodsquailclub.com or call 843-546-1466. My guest on the show today is an 18-year-old shooter that has taken sporting clays by storm. In just 4 short years, he's become one of the most dominant forces in the NSCA. The cool, calm, relaxed 6'3" shooter may take this sport as serious, if not more serious, than anyone else. Sporting clays is his passion. It's what he wants to do. It's what he solely focuses on when he's not in school, and it's what he plans on being one of the best at. Please welcome Todd Hitch. We have on the phone Todd Hitch, the Tennessee Terror. What's up, man?
Not much. How's it going?
Good. I'm doing this podcast right after the Southeast Regional because I think you have definitely earned a spot to talk about what you've been doing. Lately, the Gamil Cup, missing 2 targets, and then winning the Southeast Regional main, feed task, and I know you won the make or break shoot off and all kind of stuff. Dude, what's going on?
I don't know. I've had a couple of tune-ups lately here with Tom. Just things are starting to click. I had some big changes in my technique and stuff. I was changing over the break and stuff. I just kind of it started feeling comfortable to me, kind of back to where I felt at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Just kind of getting back in the groove, kind of getting the season started off and getting in gear for the upcoming season.
Well, all right, so last year in 20, you won the East Coast Championship. You HOA'd that shoot. American Feed Task Grand Prix, HOA.
Yes.
At the Nationals, I think you finished M2 and then won the junior championship. Weren't you pretty close at the Nationals to – weren't you tied for the lead at one point or something like that?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly how it was after day 1 or 2, but I know going into the last day, I was 1 target off the lead. And I know then for fit task, for the national fit task, I only shot 50 targets left, but I was already at the point where I had to kind of straight the rest of it to be in contention for that as well. But yes, at the Nationals, after going into day 4, I was 1 bird off the lead and had to shoot Sunday, I believe, at 11:30, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I know your dad said you had some issues and surprised you even did that well.
Yeah, so going out to the main event the first day, the golf cart started sounding kind of funky, and lift up the seat, and one of the belts started coming loose. And so that wasn't the greatest feeling. Then about 3/4 of the way through the main event, I think I was down 2 or 3 targets, and looked down at my stock, and my stock had started to have a small crack in it. It wasn't big enough to really make it, though. It was like, oh, that's a huge deal. I need not shooting or anything, but it was just enough where like, let's slap some tape on this, and just get going through the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then on Friday morning after that, the truck ended up having engine troubles and went into limp mode. We couldn't get out of that for a while, so Dad ended up having to wake up super early and go. Thankfully he did, and we were able to get worked on at the mechanic shop and got it going. So that was barely got to the range Friday. So that was an interesting morning.
Yeah. So you finished M2. All the troubles, still finished M2. All right, so let's talk about. I want to start off with the Gamil Cup because it just happened a couple weeks ago, and you're from Tennessee. You always shoot the Gamil Cup. Kind of go into the week. How'd that week work out for you?
Yes, that week was actually kind of an interesting week, and was very kind of a stressful / cramming and very busy week for me. I knew something was off as far as my technique going in that about 2 weeks for that term. I just knew something was off. I knew kind of something had been off in the first half of that season, just coming off the break.
All right, so go into what you figured was off, so we know how you fixed it.
Well, I knew I had the idea of what I was doing wrong. I kind of felt like I was using more of my hands. I felt like I wasn't really seeing the target like I should be. Like my eyes were kind of sloppy. I didn't know quite exactly what happened. I was going through all my notes I had previously, still couldn't figure out. So I called Tom and had going up to Cross Creek and having a lesson with him since he can't really shoot right now.
Yeah.
And
motorcycle champion.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be on one of those in a while.
no. Anyway.
So. So I had that tuned up, and pretty much I just got sloppy on the stuff coming off the break. I didn't realize I'd kind of overlooked essentially what happened. So he got me going on that, and then that week that I shot all but one day that week, and that was because it was 25 mile per hour winds and the target wasn't going to be flying the same. So I kind of crammed in that week, and whenever you're having to cram like that for a tournament, it's not necessarily the best feeling, but you just know you got to go through gut and trust that you put in that work.
Mm-hmm.
So I got there. I decided not to shoot the prelim on Friday for extra day of practice. Drove up Friday, then shot fit test that morning. The cold, wet rain. Shot all right in that. I think I shot 45 out of 50 the first day. Then main event comes around. I ended up shooting a 99 on the first day. I ended up missing it was a 90 and a 70 tube pair. I missed my first bird on that pair, and I was able to run the last 11 stations out that first day.
Does shooting a 99, when you know you're down one target and you're coming up towards the end of the course, does it bother you mentally, or have you got that figured out?
Well, I'm not sure if it necessarily bothers me. If it does bother me, it bothers me in a good way because I know it knows I'm shooting good. And, I mean, I think if there's definitely a way that you can let it get to your head if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. You just try not to think about it. And I was thankful I had a great squad that weekend. They just talked to me like nothing was happening. It wasn't like I was shooting wasn't like it was World Championship 99. I was down one bird going last station. They just continued to talk to me throughout the entire round. So really didn't feel bad, but going the last station on the first day, there was definitely a little bit of tension in my shot. I wasn't breaking them I wasn't hitting them as hard as I had been the rest of the course. But I think that goes for everybody. If anybody's on a good score, the last station, they're going to be getting a little careful. So there's definitely is a little nerves there on that last station for sure.
So you mean getting careful? You mean you start? What do you do? Start looking at the lead? Start looking
at
yeah.
Yes, if you notice, a lot of people, if you ever watch somebody finish a round, it's on a very good round. On those last few targets, they'll probably be breaking the target more on the front half of it because the eyes will be a little bit more focused on the gap than they will be the bird.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be, if they're comfortable, they'll pretty much be hitting, they'll be ink on the targets 99% of the times. So that's kind of that's the main thing that happens to me, and I think I see in a lot of other top shooters that everybody does it. They just get a little careful on that last station. Thankfully, I was able to hold it together and run the station.
Yeah, well, that's good. So you won 198. You've been going to Gamil Cup you started shooting at the Gamil, didn't you?
Yes, in 2017, the Gamil Cup was my first ever NSCA tournament, and that was definitely an eye-opener for me.
I know we've mentioned it before, but what did you shoot at that tournament? Do you remember?
I shot a 123 out of 200. So then from 2017 to 2021, I improved my score by 75 targets.
There you go. Yeah, and you're comfortable with it now. You're shooting good. You know, it seems to me that when you got that DT11, you know, you were shooting, a 686 Silver Pigeon forever, wasn't you?
Yes.
And then you got that DT11, and Cole did some work on it for you. It seemed like ever since then, you have been on fire.
Yes, I got the Cole's DT11 custom stock, and I got the trigger job as well. And there's definitely a big difference in the Cole's trigger and the factory triggers. It's a big difference, and it's a good difference as well. And so I got that in I got that gun in the beginning of 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I believe. It might have been 2018, but I'd gotten at just before the Western Regionals at Coyote Springs. But I decided not to bring it out there, which that was a mistake. I wish I would have brought it out there then.
Yeah. So you're in love with that gun. I know you have to be.
Yes, it's definitely a very nice gun for sure.
Now, did Cole, didn't he redo something for you not that long ago?
Yes, I ended up having, so I changed my technique a bunch. I know a very common thing people talk about me is that I didn't shoot with my head on the gun for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I had quite a big gap on it, and at the beginning of about mid-May last year, I started having some major issues with that, flinching, not seeing the bird, not being able to move it good, flinching to the point where I couldn't pull the trigger on the target. It would just have to, I'd be trying to pull it, I'd be locking up on the trigger, and I just couldn't shoot and didn't know what was happening. So I was able to refine that connection by getting my head on the stock. But in order to do that, since my stock was set up, designed for not being able to shoot my head on the gun, I had to change my mount, had to get my head on the stock, which is, after not shooting for 3 years with the head on the stock, was a very big change as far as everything felt different. Couldn't really feel like you were moving. So that was a huge change, and I was able to use my old custom stock as a pattern stock for my new stock that I now have.
Mm-hmm. And it's made that big of a difference to you?
Yes, it's huge. It essentially allows for a little bit of room of air, because if you're shooting the head off your gun, mm-hmm. As Anthony said on the podcast, it's physics. If your head's on the gun, you don't see the target as well, and you still pull the trigger, you have a much higher chance of hitting the target. And I've definitely noticed that after he said that he was like, I have noticed that if I do have a little mistake, that I think I used to miss the target when my head is off the gun. I think I do actually kind of chip the target when I have my head on the gun. Yeah.
Well, good. So the 21 Southeast Regional just finished up this past weekend, and I mentioned it earlier, you won the HOA, the main event, the fee task, and the make or break shoot off. Let's start out with the make or break shoot off, because you told me a while back that you love shoot offs.
I do. I do. I really like them. So the reason I love shoot offs because I never got to experience the PSCA, and that was the year I started was the year they finished. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been like that's the make or break is the PSA to me now. So that's what I love to shoot. I really enjoy it. I don't shoot it to win. That's just a bonus. I shoot it because I enjoy it, and I love shooting it, and love the pressure of being up there head to head.
Yeah.
So I just love shooting it, and it's funny. Actually, some of the make or breaks I win, I've actually told myself I was not going to shoot them. I'm going to focus on the main event and fit task, which is a very good idea. Mm-hmm. But then I end up shooting them, and I just having such a good time that it kind of doesn't. I just love shooting the maker break.
You must feel no pressure at all. I mean, none. You shoot off with Anthony on the main event, and you win. You don't feel any pressure with that?
Well, I've changed my mindset a lot lately as far as for my mental game and stuff like that, as far as to help with shoot offs and stuff like that. And just always as a kid, I loved the pressure of my sports and stuff. I played soccer, swimming, and stuff like that. So I just like being under pressure, and it's kind of, I don't know, the more I'm in pressure, the more I enjoy it. So the more you're in it, the more you're going to get used to it. And I feel like since I've been in a lot of pressure lately, I feel like I've been able to handle it very well.
Yeah, I say so. All right, let's talk about the main event VTASC. So the main event courses were no easy courses at all. They had some tough birds on them. As you can go back and look at the scores, the people, they were having some issues with them. But there were challenging targets. They were neat to see. I couldn't hit a lot of them, but you did. So kind of walk us through the courses and what you can remember about the courses and how you handled certain things. I don't know which one you shot first. Beretta?
No, actually, I had to finish on Beretta. I had to finish on Station 1 on Beretta. Well, I ended up starting on the Krieghoff course.
Okay.
I had started on Station 2, which is that big tower on there. Ended up dropping my last bird on that station. Then I was fortunate enough to end up straightening the rest of the course out. Then so I posted a 67 the first day. Then I have to shoot the pure gold course at the 8 a.m. rotation, which was just kind of unlucky on the lighting. Just the luck of the drawing rotation. I was just a little unlucky on that.
Mm-hmm.
And just some of the birds were just strobing. I mean, everything was set up very well. It just some of the birds were a little bit hard to see, and I just kind of struggled that day. Ended up dropping 9 targets, which that was not the greatest feeling when you know you were in the lead after the first day, for sure.
Yeah.
So then I ended up finishing on the Beretta course, which was the talk of the tournament for sure.
Yes, it was.
And they had some crazy. They had 2 towers, both true pairs. One of them on station, I believe it was 7 or 8. The one back in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never shot a tower like that coming over your shoulder. True pair.
Explain it.
Fast.
Explain it so people listening know what you're talking about.
So the station was set up. So if you walk up in the station, the tower is about 20 to 25 yards behind you. The machines are up on it, and it's sitting about 15 yards off your right shoulder, about 25 yards back, and it's going over your right shoulder out to left field. Mm-hmm. And so when you're in the cage, they didn't have the ball on the top of the stand, so you can turn back and look at the machine as it comes off, and you can see it clearly. So you almost have to spot shoot the first target, then kind of whip through the second target. And it was it was a very well set true pair, very stiff. I mean, they didn't beat you with distance. It was just fast, close, and you didn't really have time to make a mistake whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went dead lost, and dead pair on that station. That was a very, very tricky station. Then Station 1 on the Beretta, which was another talk of the tournament, I believe it was an 80-foot tower, about 40 to 45 yards out off to your right, through a big true pair of crosses going quartering and away at different speeds. It threw the little bit off-speed target first, and the faster target came through it and passed it as it went off.
How'd you do on that one?
I actually had to finish on that station, and I went dead lost, dead pair. And if I didn't hit that last pair, I think I wouldn't have been able to tie Anthony. So that was definitely very, very not the greatest station to finish on when you have the main event.
Yeah.
Good.
Did you hear of anybody running those 2 towers?
I did not, but I didn't really ask because I knew a lot of people were very upset about those 2 stations. So
yeah,
I did not personally hear of anybody running those 2 stations.
Yeah, it was definitely, especially for someone that don't shoot a lot like me, it was an eye opener. It was challenging. I actually had a good time with it though. I mean, I missed a lot, but I still had a good time shooting it and seeing, that crazy tower that I think was on 7 or 8, like you said, and some of the other stuff. Just it was different stuff. You know, it wasn't easy stuff. So I had a good time with it as well. And, you know, I just wanted to see what you thought about the courses and how you handle some things. And then we go to fee task, which was a 200 bird fee task. And you did well there too. Talk about that for a second.
Yes, so I actually, it was the first time I ever shot 200 targets. But I shot them. It was the first ever time I've ever started on parkour 1, just gone 1 through 8. And people who shot that tournament know parkour 1 was not the easiest parkour by any means. It had a giant pair of crosses and slow, very technical at about 65 to 70 yards on the first peg, and they threw them as a true pair on the second peg. And I actually was fortunate enough to shoot with Mike Wilgus, Doug Vine, and the Canes. Mm-hmm. And Mike Wilgus shot in front of me the entire time, and he actually straighted the parkour, and I shot a 22, and I was like, my 22 was a very good score, and then see Mike Wilgus straight that parkour in front of me was something unbelievable. Yeah. So then I dropped 3 there, go to the second parkour, ended up missing a fast cording bird on my first peg, just made a little mistake, got a little careful, shot 24 there, then go to the next peg, ended up missing the B bird, a super slow 90, which was a very well set target on my singles from the second peg. Ended up shooting a 23 there, so there was 6 targets down on the first day, which is not the greatest feeling, but you know, it was kind of acceptable because I had the difficulty of the targets. Mm-hmm. And so I knew I kind of had to kick in gear for the next 2 days, and I was able to shoot 74 out of 75 the second day. So then that put me with 2 birds to spare going into the last day. Ended up shooting a 24. I had to finish on 7 and 8, and everybody was talking about parkour 8, how the tower was just unbelievably hard. So I was kind of nervous going into that. Especially, I ended up shooting a 24 on the parkour 7, which was the easier parkour. I just missed a little coiling bird, just got careful like I did on the second parkour. So I had one bird to play with. I knew I had to straight parkour 8 to win. I was very fortunate to straight parkour 8 and was able to win it.
That's crazy. How old are you now, Todd?
I'm 18 years old.
Yeah. And you would not think that someone at 18 would be that serious about what you're doing. You know, you really take it serious. Is this what you want to do for a living?
Yes, that would definitely be something I'd want to do for a living. I really enjoy coaching. I've been doing some of that lately. I've been doing that about a year, but kind of just now going public with it. I just love shooting. I just can't get enough of it. And that's definitely something I'd like to pursue long term for sure.
Yeah,
I've actually kind of planned my college around NSCA shooting and sporting clays, so I'm definitely dedicated.
Yeah, you're not going to a shooting college, which I found odd. I figured you would go to a college and got on the shooting team, but you're not.
Yes, so I have a pretty intense practice regimen I do as far as before tournaments and just my weekly routine that I do for shooting, and with it wouldn't fit well with my schedule because I'd have to be going to the team practices, which it's a great thing to have, but as far as for me personally, how I'm shooting right now, I feel like it wouldn't be as beneficial as it would be to a lot of people because of my regimen.
Your regimen, yeah.
Regimen. There we go. Thank you. how I practice stuff like that, because before a tournament, I do no sugar about a month out. So essentially, I don't do any sugars the entire year until the shooting season is over, like sweets, desserts, and stuff like that. I might have had one after this past weekend because I was very happy with how I shot.
Yeah.
And I do certain hours of sleep, then I practice X amount of times a week and stuff like that.
All right, well, just break it down. Break it down, your practice regimen. Tell me what you do and why the sugar. What's the deal with the sugar?
So the sugar, I'll touch base on that first. The sugar is something that affects my eyes quite a bit. I don't know why it affects my eyes that much, but so essentially I think that it helps with keeping your blood level keeping blood pressure the same throughout the shoot. So essentially, it's taking an element out of it. It's making a consistency. So essentially, having no sugar out. I know my eyes are going to be on the same amperage the entire tournament because I've cut that out. Then the only amperage I'll have in theory on my eyes, unless I just stop getting pumped up, would be that just takes the element out of it. Then that helps keep you. It just makes it feel better. You don't have highs and lows with your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Then, so that's really the main reason, is because sugar is the number one thing that affects your eyes. At least to me, it does.
Yeah.
So it's just taking an element of a possibility to have issue, just taking that out of play.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell me how you practice.
Yes, and so my practice regimen, I try to practice about 2 times a week, depending on how I'm feeling. If I feel like I have a hole in my technique, or it's a little sloppy, it's not as clean as I can be, I might practice maybe 3 times, or maybe even 4. But I won't shoot more than 150 shells. That's something I will not do, is because I'd much rather have 150 quality practice shells every single shot count than full cases of a sloppy practice. Mm-hmm. So I'll go through there. If there's a target I know that would help me, I'll use an example. If I have like a very slow technical target where there's not a lot of gun movement, you can't really use your hands, because an issue that I have is using my hands to finish the shot. So I'm on it with my body, then I'm pushing with my hands in the shot. And that's a target. That's just something I have issue with. And so that's one of the main things I work on. So I set that up, then I kind of go through and just fine tune those things. Something doesn't feel right, I'll video myself. I set my phone up on tailgate my truck, videoing me. I'll look on that video, see how my body's moving, if it's in sync or not. I do that. Then I'll go in after that and kind of see what's an issue. Then I might even throw a tough tail to make what makes me have an issue. That way I know I have an issue to work on. That way I'm always working on something. What I mean by a hard pail that can give me an issue is just something technical, something that crosses my eyes to I need to really fine tune, locking my eyes on one target. And then if the second target's going right through my eyes, as I want to take that shot, just work on your eyes, being fine tuned on that, kind of making sure you're covered on all pages.
Yeah, Senator. So the 150 you're talking about, you just shoot 150 shells, quality shots.
Yes.
You don't want to go out there and just start shooting and not get anything out of the practice other than just breaking a target. You want to know what you did. Yes,
correct. I would rather have 125, 150 is what I shoot in between those. Then I'd rather have 125 shells where I can tell myself exactly how I shot that bird and how I felt during that shot with my temperature, with my tension and amperage, than I would have to shoot 300 shells where I don't know what exactly I felt like during the shot.
And you practice on one set of targets? Is all you practice?
Well, I have, it varies. So I'll have, if I can fix something, I feel like I fixed it to where it's in my muscle memory on the first pail, on the first set, then I'll change. So typically I'll shoot maybe 4 different pails my entire practice.
Yeah. And do you still have that field set up at your house to shoot?
Yes, I do. I have 9 machines out there I practice on.
Yeah. Okay. Does that help you, knowing that you can just walk right outside and shoot?
Yes, 100%. Without a doubt, that makes my confidence 10 times better, because you don't have to, I'm late getting off school, I'm late getting off of work, I got to rush down. Then you rush to go practice. You know you can go down there any time of the day, any day of the week, and shoot however many shells you want, whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how do you get it set up?
So I kind of have it set up, be like a 5 stand without any stands. I just have a bucket set up there, and I'll move around. So I have my machines kind of set up in like a U shaped. And I'm in the center of that gap of the U. So the machines are kind of all around me. I have a couple crosses, maybe a long, slow incomer, a couple fast quarterings, and I'll set up a springing tail occasionally just to make sure I'm good with that, and especially making sure I'm good with my FITAS mount and springing tails. Yes, I won't shoot as much as I will, depending on the tournament. If there's a 200 bud fit task, I'll be focusing a lot more on fit task than I normally would. But majority of my practice is spent focusing on sporting.
Now, before you get to go to the Gamil Cup or the Southeast Regional, how are you practicing, say, that prior week?
So the prior week to Gamil, I shot Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So all but one day leading up to that tournament. And the only thing I shot that was sporting the entire time, except for 2 boxes where I shot fit task. And I definitely felt that my fit task was a little sloppy the first day of that tournament. So then leading up to the Southeast, since they were pretty much back to back, I was scheduled to shoot on Wednesday of that tournament at that Southeast, but I actually canceled that and moved everything to where I'd shoot Thursday through Sunday so I could rest. Then on Tuesday, I shot just a little bit, 50, maybe 75 shells, just to make sure I had my confidence up. I kind of got my butt kicked by Dale Claybo in Super Sporting shoot off at Gamel that evening. Mm-hmm. He's a good buddy of mine, and I didn't move the gun that well. It was just kind of giving me a little bit more reassurance to make sure I still felt good.
With all the stuff that you do as far as getting ready for shoots, do you do any sort of exercise or anything like that?
Yes, I do. Actually, I try to work out about 3 times a week, about every other day. But then from about a week to 5 days out from a tournament, I won't. But my exercise won't necessarily be just working out, lifting weights. It'll be working on more of cardio to keep my heart rate low. Mm-hmm. help getting, because I know there's a feeling in a shoot off that I have. If I feel like I'm about to get tight, I can start feeling my blood pumping in my neck, and it's not a very good feeling when I'm about to shoot off. So really work on running and cardio, keep your heart rate low and on the same level throughout the entire round. Yeah,
you look like a runner. How far do you run?
Well, I've kind of been I have been working out as far as weights just a little bit more here recently, but as far as my normal running, as far as when I'm in my routine full on, it'll be about 2 to 5 miles. But I also have since I played soccer for a long time, that definitely makes me more of a runner just because I've ran since I was a kid.
Yeah. I don't think that I could start training now and in 10 years be able to run 5 miles. You said, I'm kind of jumping back here, you said that you went and saw Tom, I'm assuming you're talking about Tom C.,
yes,
to help
correct.
You with your shooting. What exactly did he help you with?
So essentially, I'd gotten very sloppy with how I moved my eyes and how I moved the gun with my hands. So on the first station, we shot a fast report pair. So the first target was a little bit slow, and the second target came out fast. And so I'd shoot the first bird, except with my eyes. Instead of turning my head and looking over to the machine with my eyes, I was leaving my eyes downrange over my barrel and waiting to bring my entire gun back before I cut my eyes or moved my head to look for the second target. So essentially, by keeping my eyes downrange, I was only seeing that target as it was crossing my eyes on the way back. So my first sight picture on that target would be a flash in the opposite direction than my gun's moving, which is not the greatest thing to have going. And that was a huge thing from that lesson was not being quick with your eyes back and where you placed them once you got back. It's because that having your eyes quick back moving your eyes quickly to the second target is how you determine your speed and timing on the second target. Because if you don't pick up that second target clearly off the arm or just as quick as you can, well, that target's going to look 10 times quicker because it's going to be a blur as your eyes are coming back, going the opposite direction.
All right, explain these targets. What was the first target doing?
So the first target, they were both coming right to left. The first target was off to my right, about 15, 20 yards. Is a courting bird going up over the bank. Mm-hmm. Then the second target was about a 20-yard screamer crosser, where it just required a lot of gun movement. You had to be moving your gun. And so I'd shoot the first target, and then as soon as that gun would go off, he'd throw the second target, but instead of, after I watched the first target break, instead of my eyes and head turning back to look for the second target, I just had my head and eyes stayed on the gun. So after I broke the first target, my eyes were looking downrange, but I didn't look off my right. So in order for me to pick up that second target quickly, I was having to move my entire gun back to find that second target, which was essentially slowing my eyes down dramatically to allow it to where I don't see that target as quickly. And when I do see that target, since my eyes are going left to right, the target's on right to left, when my eyes are seeing that target, it looks like it's screaming, which is causing me to just whip the gun through and swing through super fast on that second target.
Yeah. So were you shooting in front of them?
Yes, I'd shot the most. I broke the front edge off of more targets in that couple months than I have in a long time. be the best way to put it. Because you couldn't really control your gun speed consistently, so you're always having to you'd have to look at the gap to kind of judge the lead, which is causing you to break the front edge, and most likely you're going to miss in front when you miss.
Yeah. So basically, you shot the quarter and target. I'm just making sure I understand. You left your gun there, moved your eyes back to the trap, so to speak.
Yes, and when you bring your eyes back to the machine, your hands automatically follow, and about 99 to 100% of the time, they go back to the perfect spot for you to pick up and move with that second bird.
Well, Tom's always been he's always talked about your eyes, where your eyes go, and moving with your hips. He says that all the time.
So I'm glad he said hips, because a lot of people say ankles, but I've tried moving from ankles, and I've not figured out a way I can move from ankles. It's kind of the way I tell people is if you put a board or put your arm across your hip bones, and you had an arrow pointing on one end of the arrow, so in your stance, most likely if you're right-handed, you're leading off your left foot. If you had an arrow off of your hand or for your finger that's across the hips, if you point your finger at the target, and you can keep your hips in line as you move, that's what the feeling is as far as moving from your hips. I think that's the best way to move from your hips.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about move from the ankles. I don't understand how that even works.
Essentially, when you means moving from the ankles, what he's saying is don't use your hands in the shot, is what he's trying to say. He's saying let your body stay in line and move. It's like a lot of people, when they say move from your ankles, you'll see, if you hear somebody say that, like if you were watching a lesson, for instance, and they said move from your ankles, part of the issue they're having is they're pushing with their hands instead of the body or the hips, so-called. So essentially, at the end of the shot, as you got to pull the trigger, your hands are moving to the right and your body's stopping. So when you do that, your gun and the head all coming just a little out of line, and that's what's causing a little disconnect feeling at the end of the shot.
Yeah. So every one of your shots, you try to have no hands in it. That's what I try to have, but moving with my hands is one of my main issues I have. Yeah. And moving with your hands is bad. Why?
Well, moving left to right with your hands is bad. Moving up and down, clearly you have to use your hands.
Right.
But the reason clearly you are moving your hands, but you want to keep your hands and arms still during the shot. So essentially, if you're shooting the left to right cluster, you're standing up, hips bent over just a hair, in position where your gun's on plane, and you're moving, you want your entire body to be moving, not your hands. Because if you're using your hands, there's a disconnect between 50% of your body. Because if you watch a video of somebody shooting that's just using your hands, then pretty much the only thing that would be moving would be the shoulder blades on the back, and you'll see a little twist come across the back of the rib cage. And the reason it's a little bit harder to be as consistent as far as being able to do that move over and over and over again. It just allows for a little bit more consistent move.
You've really dove deep down in this for sure, and studied it. You can tell by talking to you. You're a captain of the USA Sporting Clay junior team, which is supposed to go to England in July, and you're the captain of the FITAS team, junior team, which is going to Hungary in July. What have you had any updates on if you're going to be able to get there or not? It's coming up, so.
Well, I can't really give you a straight answer on that because I've heard everything there is. So I've heard yes, 100% on. I've heard we're gonna have to go, but we're gonna have to quarantine 10 days before we shoot, so we won't be able to go to Hungary because it's the weekend after that. I've heard it's 100% on.
What one thing are you looking forward to the most?
Probably just being at EJ Churchy. That's something I've always heard talk about, and I've seen in videos online on YouTube, watching that, and just being able to meet everybody over there that I've kind of looked up to as I came up through the sport that's been overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to being at EJ Churchy and just getting the experience of being there.
Yeah, is your dad going to be able to go over there with you?
Yeah, so my entire family is going to be able to go over there with me.
Good.
Thankfully, they just now opened up Hungary to where I can have more than just the athlete come over.
The USA Sporting Clays team, are they still accepting donations for this?
Yes, they are accepting donations, and if you write a check to it, you'll actually be tax deductible. And the best way to do that is either contact Glenn Mosley or go to the NSCA website.
Yeah,
and there'll be a link on there.
Yeah, if anyone has a little extra laying around, help these guys go over. They've earned a spot for sure, and we want to see them do good. So that's always good to help out. Now you said you wanted to coach. You want to start coaching full time when you get out of during school, or when you get out of school? When do you have time to coach?
I'm right now. I want to coach every single day I can. Would be my ideal situation right now. Because what I'd like to do is build up big enough clientele while I'm in college to where I could just go right into coaching. But clearly, I'm not just going to have just one plan. I'm going to have a backup plan going for that, because that's a little bit too risky of a move.
Now, what are you going to college for?
I'm doing a business management and finance.
Yeah. So if coaching don't work, you can go figure out how to make some money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's my plan, is to get as much coaching as I can in, because I'm going to be trying coaching every single weekend. I'm not either at a tournament or I have something probably going on. That's my plan, is to be a student during the week and then a coach on the weekend.
Yeah. Your sponsors keep growing. I think you can just see why they are, because of your performance, and you're got a great attitude. But tell me who your sponsors are now. Who all do you have on board with you? So
I'd say my number one right now is probably Cole Gunsmithing. They've done a lot for me. They've provided my stocks, all my trigger work, and they're just fantastic people that are just a pleasure to hang around with and know. Mm-hmm. And I'm sponsored by Promatic. They have great machines, great people, awesome customer service. They have some of the best machines out there by far. Yeah. And I just love being a part of that team. They support me extremely well. If I need something, they're just one call away, and they tell me that every single time I see them.
Yeah, good people.
Yes, I have B&P ammunition, which has the golden hole, which to me is a huge benefit because I shoot a pretty heavy low. I shoot a ounce and 8's 1300. So having that little Rico reducer out there is a very big deal to me. It makes my shell a little bit softer, so it allows me to get less fatigue going around.
Stop right there. Why are you shooting? I'm curious about this. Why are you shooting a 1 and 8 1300? Is that what you're comfortable with? It's just what you've always shot. Why is that? It's
a bit of both. That's kind of, as a kid, that was the load I had in my mind that I wanted to shoot, because when I first started out, the only thing I shot was just a 1200 1 ounce. But I saw at my first NSCA tournament, I saw a guy that was shooting extremely well, and he shot a 1300 ounce and 8's. And so that, to me, that just has been the load in my mind that I wanted to shoot. And I have a lot of confidence with that load because of that. But I actually am considering swapping to a 1 ounce load at the beginning of the year, just because if 75% of the world championships are going to be required to shoot 1 ounce, why am I not shooting the shell that I'd be using in a world championship?
Right. Yep.
So recoil hasn't really been a huge issue to me, just because I'm a tall person. I'm like 6'3", so it's not a big deal to me. But having that golden system on there does make a huge difference, and I can tell as far as my fatigue and how I'm shooting once I hit a certain number of shells.
Yeah.
And then I have comp and chokes. I shoot the new ARC series, which actually a lot of people haven't heard about yet. I believe they're getting more popular. I saw quite a few more people shooting them in Georgia at the Southeast Regional. But essentially, the new line of chokes they have, it's the ARC series is what it's called, and it's a non-ported comping choke. So I know when you hear the name comping chokes, a lot of people think, oh, that's the choke tube that gets pretty dirty. You have to clean a lot.
Right.
But this new line is non-ported. I've shot both of them. I like both of them a lot, but I just like the non-ported one a little bit better, a little bit less cleaning, and I felt like it broke the targets just a little bit harder.
Yeah,
and that's why I have my confidence in for sure.
I haven't heard of you showed me the chokes, really cool looking chokes. Can you order them offline? How do you get those?
So they are so new that they're not on the website just yet. But you can call them and you can buy them there and they'll ship them to you. They just have not had they've been busy with COVID and everything that's been happening lately. Yeah. That they've just haven't had the time to put them on the website just yet. So if you can call them, look on their Facebook page or the website, get the phone number off of there and give them a call, and they can get you a set of the ARC series, and they go on around $70 a piece.
Todd, you got a gun sponsor?
I do not have a gun sponsor at the moment, which I'd really like to have a gun sponsorship at the moment, but I just don't.
Well, hey, I'm
just kind of, my age is in a little awkward placement.
Well, I'm sure it's coming. Don't worry about that one. You got anybody else?
I have Ultimate Shooting Accessories and the Castellante, the vest company that's very popular with a lot of the shooters out there. Mm-hmm. And I actually have a new vest coming. It's to be shipped out on Thursday, so I'm really looking forward to getting that and using it.
You know, Tom shipped mine today. So.
Well, that's good. Oh, I was talking to Tom today. So I was with Tom Locust, the Ultimate Shooting Accessories guy. I was on the phone with him today, and he said they were getting a lot of. He had a big shipment coming today, so it's very good. Good
vest. Good people. Tom's a great guy.
Yes.
If you need anything from him, he's a supporter of the show, and would sure send him some business. He's a great guy. He's always done what he says he's going to do, and ships them in a timely manner, and they're just like you want. So Todd, what's next for you? What's your goals for the year? Where are you going next?
So my next tournament will be up at Anthony's place up at M&M Sporting Club in Pennsville, New Jersey. It'll be the Northeast Regional.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually the same weekend as my graduation. So we'll be driving up Tuesday, and I shoot fit task on Wednesday, Thursday. And I fly out Thursday afternoon, come back, graduate on Friday, then fly back up Saturday morning to shoot the main event. So that's gonna be a busy week for me.
I'm telling you, you're a dedicated dude. You know what? Didn't you do that one time before doing something like that?
Yes, I did that at the U.S. Open up at Anthony's place in 2019, I believe, and for my sister's graduation. So I did that all by myself then, and that was, I think I was 15 or 16 at that time. That was definitely nerve-wracking because I had to take a chain to WBI, the airport up there, by myself, which I'd never been on a chain in general. So then I had to do it by myself. So that was kind of a very nerve-wracking experience, to say the least.
Yeah. So, all right, after the regional, I'm assuming you're going to, what's that, U.S. Open next?
Yes, it'll be the U.S. Open out at Claythorns. That'll be my next event after the Northeast. Then after the U.S. Open, it'll be the two World Championships overseas, hopefully.
Well, I'm sure that you'll do well at all of those. If you definitely got what it takes to do it for sure. You're always a pleasure to talk to. You always have a good attitude. Always smiling, joking. You got any good stories you can tell us before I let you go? You got anything? I know you've pranked somebody with something.
I'll say it. See, so I have so many pranks that I honestly forget about them. I get people that come up and say it to me, and I just kind of act like I remember. I know I did it, but I've done so many.
Yeah.
I know first one that comes to mind. I did my sister's car. I put 800 sticky notes on it and wrapped it in about half a mile of saran wrap on April Fool's one day. So that was a pretty good one.
I bet you appreciated that.
Yeah. Then I guess my other one that would be shooting related would be I did it to my mom. She was an unfortunate victim for this one, but It was at the American, it was at the North American Fit Test Camp. We were driving back from Florida. I was driving. It was about 2 a.m. We were coming through Atlanta, and she was asleep in the car. And I screamed as loud as I possibly could. She was not too thrilled about that. She had her seat leaned back, and I said it was like somebody was laying in the grave, and they just came up and stood up on the feet in about a blink of an eye. That was about like she was coming up out of that seat.
So it just crossed your mind, I'm just going to scream right now in the car.
It was, because you see those videos on there online where they have like a back of a truck and they yell while the guy's asleep. But
yeah.
I couldn't find it. I drove for about 4 hours. I didn't pass a truck, so I was like, all right, no, this is my moment.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I say it kind of worked out good for me because she hasn't let me drive to a single shoot since then with her in the car, so I can just sit back and sleep.
She don't do it to you, does she?
No, I'm sure she might do it after I mention on this podcast. But no, she doesn't.
That's funny, man. All right. Well, Todd, it's good talking to you, man. I'm sure I'll see you. I think I'm going to the U.S. Open this year, so I guess I'll probably see you up there. But good luck in everything you're going for, and we'll see you soon.
So thank you so much for having me on here. It was an honor to be on here again.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Not a problem. I'll see you later.
All right, see you, Justin.